Exit code 0. The first thing I noticed was the silence, not the comforting kind, the kind that presses against your ears until you start hearing your own heartbeat. I opened my eyes slowly. A white ceiling stretched above me, spotless and bright enough to hurt. I blinked several times before sitting upright. My head pounded. The room smelled faintly of disinfectant and cold metal. Where was I? The last thing I remembered was leaving work late the previous evening. Rain had been pouring outside. I had unlocked my car. Then, nothing, a complete blank. I looked around. The room was perfectly square. White walls, white floor. No windows, one heavy steel door. A digital clock above it flashed red numbers. 59:41. The seconds continued to count down. 59:40. 59:39. My stomach tightened. What? I stood too quickly, nearly losing my balance. The room felt unnaturally clean. No furniture except the narrow bed I had been lying on. No cameras that I could see. No vents, nothing. I rushed toward the steel door and grabbed the handle. Locked. I pulled harder. Nothing. Then I slammed my shoulder against it. The impact echoed painfully through the room. The door didn't move, not even a millimeter. What is this? My voice sounded far louder than it should have. No answer. I searched every inch of the walls, no hidden panels, no cracks, nothing. Then, a soft click. The wall opposite me split open. I froze. A narrow hallway appeared where solid concrete had been seconds earlier. Cold white lights illuminated the passage. At the end, another door and voices, real voices. Someone yelled, "Hey, is anyone there?" I hesitated only a moment before running. The hallway felt strangely endless despite being only 20 meters long. When I reached the second door, it slid open automatically. 9 people turned toward me at once. For a second, no one spoke. We simply stared at one another. They looked just as confused as I felt. A tall man in his 30s broke the silence. "So there is another one." I looked around. 10 people, including me. A teenage girl hugged her knees against the wall. An elderly man adjusted his glasses nervously. A woman wearing a business suit kept checking her watch even though it had stopped. A muscular man paced constantly. A young nurse, a college student, a middle-aged mechanic, a quiet woman with short black hair, and another man about my age who watched everyone without saying a word. The room itself was much larger than mine, circular. Bare concrete walls, one massive metal door, no windows, another countdown timer. This one read, 58:12. What is this place? I asked. The mechanic shrugged. If any of us knew, do you think we'd still be standing here? The businesswoman crossed her arms. I've already checked every wall. No exits, no hidden switches, no vents. We're trapped. The teenage girl whispered, "My mom. I have to go home." Nobody knew what to say. The silence returned. Then, a loud chime echoed through the room. Every light flickered. A mechanical voice filled the chamber, calm, emotionless, almost pleasant. "Good morning, participants." Everyone jumped. "Welcome to Project Exit. If you are hearing this message, your evaluation has officially begun." "What evaluation?" the tall man shouted. The voice ignored him. "There are 10 participants. There are 10 stages. There is only one final exit. If the countdown reaches 0 before the room is cleared," the voice paused, "the room will be permanently sealed." The teenage girl started crying. Someone whispered, "This has to be a joke." The robotic voice continued, "You may leave this room whenever you discover the correct solution. There are no impossible puzzles. There are only incorrect assumptions." The lights flashed again. "Oh, and one final reminder. Lying is allowed. Violence is allowed. Trust is optional." The speaker clicked off. Silence. Absolute silence. No one moved. Finally, the muscular man laughed nervously. "Yeah, funny. Come out already." "No one's laughing," the nurse said quietly. The countdown kept ticking. 56:51, 56:50, 56:49. The elderly man cleared his throat. "If this isn't a prank, we should search together." The mechanic nodded. "Agreed. We waste time arguing, we all lose for the next 15 minutes. Everyone searched, every wall, every inch of the floor, every corner, nothing. It made no sense. There had to be something. There always was. I forced myself to stop moving. Escape rooms always relied on observation before action. What had I overlooked? The walls? No. The ceiling? Nothing. The timer? Just numbers. The people? I frowned. The people. Slowly, I looked at each person. Then I noticed it. "Wait." Everyone looked at me. "Does anyone else's bracelet have a symbol?" "What bracelet?" the mechanic asked. I stared. "Wrist. Look." One by one, everyone raised their left arm. Each of us wore an identical black metal bracelet. None of us had noticed it before. The businesswoman frowned. "I swear this wasn't here earlier." Neither had mine. The screen on my bracelet suddenly lit up. A blue symbol appeared, a triangle, someone else gasped. I have a circle. I've got a square. Mine's a star. Every bracelet displayed a different shape, 10 unique symbols, no duplicates. Then, the center of the room vibrated. A loud metallic click echoed beneath our feet. The concrete floor split apart. A pedestal slowly rose from underground. On top rested a glass box. Inside, 10 empty slots. Each shaped exactly like one of the symbols on our bracelets. A screen above it lit up. Insert the 10 keys, the mechanic frowned. What keys? We didn't have any. Then another sentence appeared. You are already wearing them. Everyone instinctively looked back at their wrists, the bracelets. The elderly man's face turned pale. No, no. The muscular man grabbed his bracelet and pulled. It didn't move, not even slightly. The businesswoman examined hers carefully. There isn't even a clasp. It's fused shut. The screen changed again. Only the correct person may insert their key. An incorrect choice will result in a penalty. The room fell silent once more. 10 bracelets, 10 symbols, 10 slots. Only one correct arrangement, and absolutely no clue which bracelet belonged where. The countdown continued, 42:18 for the first time. I realized something terrifying. The puzzles weren't going to test how smart we were. They were going to test how well we could think. Before panic took over, nobody moved. The countdown continued, 42:10, 42:09, 42:08. 10 people stood in a circle around the glass box, each staring at the bracelet on their wrist as if it had suddenly become a bomb. The muscular man broke the silence. So what now? We start guessing. No, I said immediately. He looked at me. If the machine warns us about a penalty, guessing is the worst thing we can do. The businesswoman nodded. He's right. There has to be a clue somewhere. Everyone spread out again. This time we searched more carefully. I ran my fingers along the walls, pressing every section I could reach. Nothing. The elderly man tapped the floor with his shoe, solid concrete. The nurse inspected the pedestal. The glass box wouldn't open. The slots were completely sealed. It was waiting for us to understand something. Minutes passed, still nothing. Frustration began replacing fear. There aren't any clues, the mechanic shouted. How are we supposed to solve something without information? No one answered. Because he was right. Then, I noticed the quiet woman. Unlike everyone else, she wasn't searching. She was watching us, watching every movement, every conversation. What? She asked when she caught me looking. You haven't searched. I already did. When? While everyone was panicking, I frowned. What did you find? She hesitated. A pattern. Everyone turned toward her. What pattern? The college student asked. She pointed toward the floor. Stand still. Confused, we obeyed. She slowly walked around the room. Look at your shadows. I looked down. The overhead lights cast long shadows across the floor. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Then I noticed it. My shadow wasn't pointing in the same direction as everyone else's. Neither were theirs. Each shadow pointed toward a different section of the room, almost like arrows. Wait, I whispered. The quiet woman smiled faintly. The lights aren't random. They're directing us. We followed our shadows. Mine ended at a section of the wall that looked exactly like every other part. I pressed against it. Nothing. The businesswoman reached her own wall. Click. A small compartment slid open. Inside, a metal tile. It had a triangle engraved on it. My symbol, she whispered. More compartments began opening around the room, one after another. Each person found one. Each tile matched the symbol on their bracelet. The teenager smiled for the first time. We found them. But something felt wrong, very wrong. The pedestal still read, insert the 10 keys. These were only metal tiles, not keys. The elderly man turned his over. Words were engraved on the back. Truth creates the path. Mine says. The nurse read, fear clouds judgment. Everyone checked theirs. Every tile had a different sentence. Hope, memory, trust, sacrifice. Logic, patience, observation, courage, truth, fear, 10 words. The quiet woman spoke again. They're clues. To what? Asked the mechanic. I don't know. Before anyone could answer, the robotic voice returned. Congratulations. You have completed Phase 1. Several people sighed with relief. The voice continued. Phase 2 will now begin. A loud metallic bang echoed behind us. The entrance disappeared. A second steel door rose from the floor. Above it, a screen displayed a single question. Who should lead? Below the question were 10 empty spaces, one for each of our names. The muscular man laughed. Seriously? We vote. The screen flashed. You have 5 minutes. A digital timer appeared. 5 o'clock. The businesswoman stepped forward. I've managed teams for years. I should lead. The mechanic shook his head. Management isn't survival. I've solved machines my whole life. I'll figure these rooms out. The muscular man folded his arms. If things get dangerous, you'll want someone strong. The elderly man adjusted his glasses. We need wisdom, not muscles. Voices began overlapping. Everyone argued. Everyone believed they were the best choice. I stayed quiet. So did the quiet woman. 3 minutes remained. The teenage girl suddenly spoke. Shouldn't we know each other's names first? Silence. She was right. We hadn't even introduced ourselves, not one of us. One by one we did. The businesswoman was Claire. The mechanic was Ben. The nurse was Mia. The elderly man was Walter. The college student was Ethan. The muscular man was Marcus. The quiet woman was Iris. The teenage girl was Lily. The silent man was Noah. I'm Adrian, I said. Only 2 minutes remained. Marcus pointed at Claire. You're too controlling. Claire glared at him. And you're reckless. Their argument escalated. Ben joined in. Walter tried calming everyone down. The timer reached 1 minute. No one had voted. Panic returned. Then Iris spoke quietly. If this room wanted a leader, why give us names? Everyone looked at her. What do you mean? I asked. She pointed toward the screen. It doesn't ask, who wants to lead? It asks, who should lead? She turned toward me. Adrian, I think the answer isn't a vote. It's whoever noticed the question. I frowned. What? She smiled slightly. You haven't tried to lead once. Which is exactly why you should. Before I could respond, Lily nodded. I vote Adrian. So do I, Mia said. Walter agreed. Ben shrugged. Works for me. Claire hesitated, then nodded. Marcus rolled his eyes. Fine. One by one, every name disappeared from the screen, except mine. The moment the final vote appeared, the steel door unlocked. A soft chime echoed through the room. Correct. The robotic voice returned. Leadership is not claimed. It is given. Proceed to room 2. The heavy door slowly opened. Beyond it, a long corridor stretched into darkness. Cold air drifted toward us for just a moment. I thought I saw someone standing at the far end. Watching, the lights flickered, the figure disappeared. I wasn't sure if I'd imagined it. I hoped I had, without another word. The 10 of us stepped into the corridor. None of us noticed. The screen behind us changing one last time. Participants remaining, 10 trust level, 74% and beneath it. A message none of us saw. Deception protocol activated. The steel door slammed shut behind us. The sound echoed through the corridor like a gunshot. Every instinct screamed at me to turn around. I did. The door had vanished. There wasn't even a seam in the wall. It was as if it had never existed. That's impossible, Ben muttered. No one argued. We continued forward. The corridor was dimly lit and our footsteps echoed off the concrete walls. None of us spoke. The excitement of solving the first room had faded, replaced by an uncomfortable realization. The next puzzle could be worse, much worse. After what felt like several minutes, another steel door came into view. Above it, glowing red letters read, Room 2, the balance of truth. The door slid open on its own. We stepped inside. It looked nothing like the first room. Instead of bare concrete, the room resembled an old courtroom. 2 massive stone scales stood in the center, one on the left and one on the right. Behind them were 10 wooden podiums arranged in a semicircle, one for each of us. On the far wall, a giant screen flickered to life. Time remaining, 60 o'clock. A robotic voice echoed through the chamber. Welcome to the second evaluation. This room measures honesty, Marcus groaned. Seriously, the voice ignored him. Each participant will receive 1 statement. Some statements are true, some are false. You must decide which scale your statement belongs on. The left scale lit up. Truth, the right scale lit up. Claire frowned. That's it, the voice continued. If every statement is placed correctly, the exit will open. If even one statement is placed incorrectly, the voice paused. A penalty will be issued. The room fell silent. Lily whispered, so, we just answer honestly. I don't think it'll be that simple, I replied. Each podium suddenly lit up. A card slowly rose from the surface. Each of us picked up ours. My heart sank as I read mine. You have betrayed someone's trust. What? I stared at the sentence. It wasn't asking a question, it was making a statement. Around me, everyone was reading their own cards. Ben's expression hardened. Claire looked genuinely shaken. Walter closed his eyes. Marcus frowned. No one looked comfortable. What does yours say? Ethan asked. Marcus hesitated. I'd rather not. Claire folded her card. Maybe we shouldn't tell each other. Why not? Ben asked. Because the statements are personal. And if the puzzle is testing honesty, she looked around the room. Someone might lie. Nobody responded. Because we had all heard the first room. Lying is allowed. Walter took a slow breath. I think we should share. If we hide information, we'll never solve it. One by one, people reluctantly read their cards aloud. Lily. You have stolen something. Ben, you have broken a promise. Claire, you have manipulated someone. Marcus, you have abandoned a friend. Walter, you have regretted telling the truth. Mia, you have wished harm on another person. Ethan, you have blamed someone for your own mistake. Noah finally spoke for the first time. His voice was calm. His card read, "You have never lied." Everyone looked at him. Marcus actually laughed. "Well, that's obviously false." Noah simply folded the card. "I didn't say it was true." Finally, everyone looked at Iris. She stared at her card for several seconds, then quietly said, "It says, you are not supposed to be here." Silence. Ben blinked. "What? Read it again." She did exactly the same words. No one knew what to make of it. Even the room seemed quieter. I couldn't stop looking at her. "Not supposed to be here? What did that even mean?" The robotic voice interrupted. "You have 30 minutes remaining." Marcus sighed. "Enough talking." He walked straight to the lie scale and placed his card onto it. The scale glowed blue. Nothing happened. Claire looked uncertain. She closed her eyes, then placed hers on truth. Again, nothing. One by one, people made their choices. Some hesitated, some didn't. When it was my turn, I stared at my card. "You have betrayed someone's trust." Had I? A memory flashed through my mind. Years ago, a close friend had asked me to keep a secret. I hadn't meant to tell anyone, but during an argument, it had slipped out. Our friendship had ended soon after. I hadn't thought about it in years. Slowly, I walked toward the truth scale. My hands shook as I placed the card down. The scale accepted it. Only Iris remained. She still hadn't moved. "What are you waiting for?" Marcus asked. "I don't know where it belongs. It's your own statement." "That's exactly why." She looked at me. "How do you decide whether something is true if you don't know why it was written?" No one had an answer. The countdown reached 25 minutes. Finally, she walked forward, not to the truth scale, not to the lie scale. She stopped between them. "There are only two choices." She looked up at the ceiling. "Unless the question itself is the lie." Before anyone could stop her, she tore the card in half. The room froze, alarms blared, red lights flooded the chamber. Marcus shouted, "What did you do?" The robotic voice spoke immediately. "Unexpected response detected. Re-evaluating." Every screen in the room went black for 3 terrifying seconds. Nothing happened then. The scales disappeared into the floor. The exit door unlocked with a heavy metallic click. A new message appeared. "Room cleared." Every one of us stood frozen. Ben looked at Iris in disbelief. You weren't supposed to do that." She looked just as surprised. "I know." The robotic voice spoke one last time. "Correct. Not every question deserves an answer." As the exit door slowly opened, I couldn't shake the feeling that this place wasn't just testing intelligence. It was testing something far more dangerous. It wanted to know how we thought, and somehow, I felt certain that it was learning from every choice we made. The door slid shut behind us. No one said a word. We were all thinking about the same thing. Iris hadn't solved the puzzle. She had broken it, and somehow, that had been the correct answer. "What kind of place rewards destroying its own game?" Ben muttered. "The kind that isn't interested in the rules," Walter replied quietly. "It's interested in us." No one argued. The hallway ahead was darker than the last one. The lights overhead flickered every few seconds, forcing us to walk carefully. As we rounded a corner, we stopped. Another screen glowed on the wall. Participants remaining. 10 room 3, the prisoner's choice. A heavy steel door unlocked with a hiss. The room beyond looked nothing like the others. It was divided into 2 identical chambers by a thick wall of reinforced glass. Each side contained 5 chairs bolted to the floor. In the center of the glass wall was a single red button. The moment we stepped inside, the entrance sealed behind us. The robotic voice returned. "Welcome to the 3rd evaluation. This room measures cooperation." Marcus sighed. "Here we go again. Participants will now be separated." The floor beneath us shifted. Before anyone could react, steel barriers rose from the ground, dividing us into 2 groups. On my side stood me, Iris, Mia, Ben, Lily. On the opposite side were Marcus, Claire, Walter, Ethan, Noah. The glass between us was crystal clear. We could see each other perfectly. But when Ben shouted, "Can you hear us?" the others only looked confused. No sound passed through. The voice continued. "Communication between groups has been disabled." 5 chairs slid forward on each side, metal cuffs extended from the armrests. "Each participant must sit." Marcus folded his arms. "I'm not sitting in that." A loud beep interrupted him. The countdown appeared. 0, 30, 29, 28. The voice spoke calmly. "Failure to comply before the timer expires will activate the penalty." Marcus stared at the timer. "Fine." One by one, we all sat down. The cuffs snapped around our wrists. They weren't painfully tight, but they weren't coming off. A screen descended in front of each group. Words slowly appeared. Group A, one person in Group B is a saboteur if you correctly identify them. Your group survives. If you fail, your group will receive the penalty. You may press the red button only once. I looked up. The others were reading something on their own screen. They looked just as confused. What do you think there says? Mia whispered. I don't know. Then our screen changed again. Additional information. The saboteur knows they are the saboteur. The saboteur has been instructed to mislead others. Ben's face turned pale. So, someone over there is lying. Lily looked through the glass. They all look normal. I studied the 5 people on the other side. Marcus, Claire, Walter, Ethan, Noah. Any of them could be pretending, or the screen itself could be lying. After room 2, I wasn't willing to trust anything. Suddenly, Marcus pointed at himself and started waving his arms dramatically. Then he pointed at Noah. Then shook his head violently. Claire rolled her eyes and pushed his arm down. They're trying to communicate, Mia said, but we can't understand. Walter calmly pointed toward Ethan. Ethan immediately shook his head. Noah didn't move at all. He simply watched us. His expression never changed. Ben leaned closer to the glass. If I had to guess, I'd say Marcus. Too obvious, Iris replied. What if someone wanted to manipulate us? They'd make the loudest person look guilty. She was right. Marcus was impulsive, reckless, easy to suspect. Almost too easy. The timer appeared again. 20 o'clock, 20 minutes. The red button waited silently. Mia spoke. What if we don't press it? No sooner had she asked than new words appeared. Failure to choose counts as an incorrect choice. So we have to guess, Ben groaned. I kept staring at Noah. He hadn't tried to communicate. He hadn't accused anyone. He hadn't defended himself. Nothing. It bothered me. He's too calm, Ben said, noticing my gaze. Exactly. Iris looked at me. Or maybe he knows panic makes people suspicious. Before I could answer, something changed. The screen on our side flickered, then displayed a single sentence. One statement on your screen has been false. We all froze. What? Ben reread everything. Which one? No idea, Mia whispered. Was there never a saboteur? Or, does the saboteur not know? Lily looked frightened. They're messing with us. Yes, I said quietly. They're forcing us to question every assumption. The countdown reached 10 minutes. Marcus was now pointing desperately at himself, then pretending to choke, then pointing at Walter. Claire looked ready to strangle him. Walter sighed. Even through soundproof glass, his exhaustion was obvious. Suddenly, Noah slowly raised one finger, then pointed. Not at anyone in his own group, at me. He held my gaze for several seconds. Then, he smiled. It wasn't friendly. It wasn't mocking. It was almost knowing. A chill ran down my spine. Why is he looking at you? Mia asked. I don't know, but I had the uncomfortable feeling that he did. The timer reached 5 minutes. We had to decide Marcus, Claire, Walter, Ethan, or Noah. I looked at Iris. What do you think? She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked at the screen one last time, then at the button, then back at me. Finally, she said quietly, I don't think. The question is asking us what we think it is. I frowned. What do you mean? She pointed at the words again. One person in Group B is a saboteur. Then she smiled. It never said. The saboteur was one of the 5 people. My eyes widened before I could ask what she meant. A loud metallic click echoed through the room. Something behind us had just unlocked. The metallic click echoed through the room. Every one of us turned toward the sound. A narrow panel had opened in the wall behind our chairs. Inside was another red button. Smaller, hidden. Ben stared at it. That definitely wasn't there before. Neither button had any label. One in the center of the glass, one hidden behind us. The countdown continued. 4:37. Marcus noticed our reactions. He looked behind us, confused, then back at us, realizing we had found something he couldn't see. He began pounding on the glass. What is it? His lips mouthed. Of course, we couldn't hear him. Mia looked from one button to the other. Which one are we supposed to press? We don't know, I replied. Iris kept reading the instructions over and over. There has to be a reason they revealed this one. Lily's voice trembled. What if it's another trick? It probably is, Ben muttered. The hidden button looked older than the one in the center. Its paint was scratched, as though it had been used many times before, or, too many. I leaned forward as far as the cuffs allowed. There was something engraved beneath it, tiny letters. I squinted. I can't read it. Ben leaned closer. I think it says. He stopped. What? It says. Emergency override. The room fell silent. Emergency override. Those 2 words changed everything. Override what? Mia whispered. No one knew. The screen flickered again. 3 minutes remaining. Marcus was now pointing frantically toward the center button. He wanted us to press it. Claire, however, shook her head. Walter remained thoughtful. Ethan kept looking around their room, searching for something. Noah was still watching me. He hadn't looked away once. It was unsettling, almost as if he expected me to understand something. Then a memory surfaced. Room 2, not every question deserves an answer. Room 1. There are only incorrect assumptions. Every room had hidden rules. What if this one did too? I looked back at the instructions. One person in Group B is a saboteur. Nothing about Group A, nothing about pressing the center button. Only that we may press it once. May, I whispered. Ben looked at me. What? It doesn't say we have to press that button, but we have to make a choice. Yes, I looked at the hidden button. What if this is the real choice? The timer reached 2 minutes. Lily bit her lip. If we press the wrong one, we could all die. No one could argue with that. Iris suddenly smiled. I know. We all turned toward her. The emergency override. What about it? Mia asked. It isn't part of the game. What if the room wanted us to choose a saboteur? Why hide another option? She looked around slowly. Unless the room is testing whether we'll blindly follow instructions. Ben stared at her. So you're saying we ignore the puzzle? I'm saying we escape the trap instead of playing it. The words hung in the air for a moment. They made perfect sense, and yet they sounded completely insane. The countdown dropped below 1 minute. Marcus was shouting silently. Claire had both hands on her head. Walter looked resigned. Noah simply nodded once toward me. As if giving permission, I didn't know why. But that frightened me more than anything else. 30 seconds. I looked at the hidden button, then at the center one. My heart pounded so loudly I could barely think. 20 seconds. Adrian, Mia whispered. What do we do? I took a deep breath. Every room so far had punished assumptions. Every room rewarded seeing what others missed. 10 seconds. I met Iris's eyes. She gave the slightest nod. 9, 8, 7. I reached toward the hidden button. 6, 5. Ben held his breath. 4, 3. My finger hovered over the scratched metal. 2, 1. I pressed it for one terrifying second. Nothing happened. Then the lights went out. Complete darkness. A loud alarm filled the room, not the robotic voice. A different one. A harsh, mechanical siren. The cuffs around our wrists unlocked. The glass wall between the groups began to rise. Marcus stumbled backward as his own restraints released. What did you do? He shouted as the soundproof barrier disappeared. Before I could answer, every screen in the room flashed bright red. Game interrupted, unauthorized command accepted, everyone stared. The robotic voice returned, but this time, it sounded different, less confident, almost irritated. Emergency override confirmed. Evaluation. Bypassed, proceeding to room 4. The massive exit door slowly opened. No one moved. Walter looked at me. You didn't solve the room. I shook my head. No. I looked at the hidden button one last time. I think we found a way around it. As we stepped into the next corridor, I glanced back. The screen changed one final time. Participants remaining, 10, then another line appeared beneath it. A line that disappeared almost instantly, but not before I read it. Administrator has been notified. A cold shiver ran down my spine. For the first time, it felt like someone wasn't just watching us. Someone was now paying attention to me. No one spoke as we entered the next corridor. The silence wasn't born from fear anymore. It was uncertainty. For the first time, it felt as though we'd done something the game hadn't expected. Marcus finally broke the silence. What exactly was that? I don't know, I admitted. You just pressed a random button. It wasn't random, Iris said calmly. It was hidden. Marcus threw his hands into the air. That doesn't make it a good idea. It worked. Only because we got lucky. No, Walter interrupted. I don't believe in luck anymore. We all looked at him. He adjusted his glasses before continuing. Every room has been carefully designed. If that button existed, someone wanted it to be found. His words lingered in my mind. Someone, not something, someone. The corridor ended at an elevator. Its doors slid open the moment we approached. Inside, there were no buttons, only another screen. As soon as the last of us stepped inside, the doors closed. The elevator began moving, down, far down. The numbers on the display counted backward. -1, -2, -3. Ben frowned. How deep does this place go? No one answered. The elevator suddenly stopped. The lights flickered. Then, the screen changed. Instead of numbers, it displayed a single sentence. Observation log below it, lines of text appeared one by one. Participant 1, Adrian pattern recognition, exceptional. Risk tolerance, increasing. Leadership influence, high. My stomach tightened. It was talking about me. Then another line appeared. Emotional stability under evaluation. Before I could process it, the screen switched. Participant 2, Iris independent reasoning, exceptional. Rule compliance, low. Iris frowned but said nothing. The screen continued cycling through everyone. Marcus, impulsive; Claire, strategic; Walter, analytical; Mia, empathetic; Ben, practical; Lily, adaptive; Ethan, curious; finally, Noah. The screen paused. Longer than it had for anyone else. Then only one line appeared. Access restricted. Silence filled the elevator. Marcus looked around. What does that mean? No one knew. The elevator doors opened. We stepped into the largest room yet. It looked impossible. Bookshelves stretched from floor to ceiling. Thousands of books filled the shelves. Wooden ladders lined the walls. Old clocks ticked softly. The scent of aged paper filled the air. It looked less like a puzzle room, and more like an ancient library. Above the entrance, elegant silver letters read, "Room 4, the Library of Memories." The countdown began. 75 o'clock. The robotic voice echoed through hidden speakers. Knowledge can reveal the truth. Memory can hide it. Only one memory is false. Find it. The lights dimmed. Then 10 books fell from the shelves. One landed in front of each of us. My name was written across the cover. I froze. Slowly, I opened it. Inside were memories, my memories. The first page described my first day of school. The next, my first bicycle. Every page contained moments from my life, some happy, some painful. I flipped through them, my hands trembling. It was impossible. No one else could know these things. No one. Ben suddenly whispered, "How? How do they know?" Across the room, everyone looked equally disturbed. Claire slammed her book shut. "This isn't funny." Walter stared silently at his pages. Lily was crying. Mia looked pale. Even Marcus had stopped making jokes. I turned another page. It described the day my father taught me how to drive. Every detail was perfect. The weather, the conversation, even the song playing on the radio. Then, one page caught my attention. It described my college graduation, except I had never graduated. I had dropped out during my second year to take care of my sick mother. I read the page again. Everything about it was wrong, completely fabricated. I looked up. "Wait!" Everyone turned toward me. "I found one." "What?" "A false memory." Walter's eyes widened. "So did I." Claire slowly raised her hand. "Me too." Ben looked confused. "Mine has one as well." One by one, everyone admitted the same thing. Every book contained exactly one memory that had never happened. The room's announcement echoed in my head. Only one memory is false. Not one in each book, just one. I felt a chill run through me. Someone was lying. But was it the books or one of us? Then Noah quietly spoke, for the first time since entering the room. "My book doesn't have a false memory." Every eye turned toward him. He held up the open pages. "I've checked it 3 times. Every memory is real." Marcus frowned. "You're saying you're the only one?" Noah nodded. Silence. Then Iris looked from Noah to the books and whispered something so quietly I almost didn't hear it. "I don't think these books belong to us." A cold wave of realization washed over me. If she was right, then whose memories had I just been reading? The room fell silent. No one even turned another page. I slowly looked down at the book in my hands. The cover still read Adrian, my name, my memories, or what I thought were my memories. "Iris," I said quietly. "What do you mean they aren't ours?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she walked over to Ben. "May I?" Ben hesitated before handing her his book. She opened it and began reading. Her eyes moved quickly across the pages. After nearly a minute, she stopped. "Ben," she asked, "did you ever tell anyone about the scar on your shoulder?" His expression changed instantly. "No, not even your family." He slowly shook his head. "Then how does this book describe it?" Ben grabbed the book from her. His face turned pale. It even mentions how I got it." No one spoke. The robotic voice had never said these books were fake. They knew things that no stranger should know. Iris walked over to me next. She took my book and flipped through several pages. Then she stopped. "This page." It was the false memory, my graduation. She looked up at me. "You said you never graduated." "I didn't," she nodded. "Then tell me something. Why does this page mention a professor's name?" I frowned. "Professor Daniel Reeves." I stared at the name. "I don't know him." "Are you sure?" "I'm sure." She closed the book. "No, you recognize the name?" "I don't." "You hesitated." Her words hit me harder than I expected. Had I? For just a fraction of a second. The name had felt familiar, but that was impossible. I had never met anyone named Daniel Reeves. Had I? A sharp pain shot through my head. I grabbed the edge of the bookshelf to steady myself. A flash. A lecture hall. Rows of students. Someone writing equations on a whiteboard. Then, nothing. The memory disappeared. I took a shaky breath. What just happened? "I don't know," Iris admitted, "but I think these books are doing something to us." Across the room, Marcus slammed his book onto the floor. "I'm done. This place is trying to get inside our heads." He marched toward the exit, locked, of course. Claire sighed. Breaking things hasn't worked so far. Marcus kicked a bookshelf. Several books fell to the floor. One landed open. Lily gasped, "Look!" We gathered around it. The book wasn't labeled with anyone's name. Its cover was completely black. Inside, there were photographs, not words. The first picture showed room 1, the second, room 2, the third. The room we had just escaped. Someone had been taking pictures of us without us knowing. The final page was blank. At the bottom were 4 typed words, "To be continued." Ben swallowed. Someone's documenting everything. Walter slowly looked around the library. "We're not alone." Almost on cue, a soft creak echoed from somewhere above us. Everyone looked up. The upper walkways between the bookshelves were empty, or they should have been at the far end. A figure stood completely still, dressed in black, wearing a white mask with no expression, no eyes, no mouth, just a smooth, featureless face. Lily screamed. Marcus took a step forward. Hey, the figure didn't move, it simply watched us. Then, the lights flickered for less than a second. When they came back, the figure was gone. Ben's voice shook. Did everyone see that? Every person nodded, except Noah. He was still looking at the black book, as if the figure didn't matter. Who was that? Mia whispered. No one answered. The robotic voice returned. 30 minutes remaining. It sounded exactly the same, cold, emotionless. As if nothing unusual had happened. I looked toward the upper walkway again, empty. Had the cameras captured that figure? Or was the figure watching the cameras too? Then Noah quietly closed the black book. The puzzle isn't about the memories. Everyone turned toward him. It's about the author. The author? Claire repeated. He nodded. Someone wrote these. So if we find who wrote them, we'll know which memory doesn't belong. Marcus frowned. How exactly are we supposed to do that? Instead of answering, Noah walked to the largest bookshelf in the center of the library. He placed his hand against its side, then pushed. Nothing happened. He pushed again. A loud click echoed through the room. The entire bookshelf slowly rotated. Hidden behind it was a narrow staircase leading downward. A cold breeze drifted up from the darkness below. The robotic voice spoke immediately. Hidden area discovered. Evaluation updated. For the first time since waking up, the voice sounded almost surprised. I exchanged a glance with Iris. She was thinking the same thing. The hidden passage wasn't supposed to be found so easily, and Noah had known exactly where to look. I looked at him. How did you know that was there? He met my eyes for several long seconds. Then he gave the faintest smile. I've always been good at remembering places I've never been. The words sent a chill down my spine. Before anyone could ask another question, a loud metallic bang echoed from somewhere beneath the staircase. Something was coming up. The metallic banging grew louder. Once, twice. Then it stopped. No one moved. The hidden staircase disappeared into darkness, and the cold air rising from below sent chills across my skin. Marcus clenched his fists. I'm not waiting. Before anyone could stop him, he stepped onto the staircase. Marcus, Claire called. He ignored her. Ben sighed. We can't split up. One by one, we followed. The stairs spiraled downward much farther than I expected. The library above slowly disappeared from view. At the bottom, we entered a circular room. Unlike the others, this one wasn't clean. Dust covered the floor. The walls were scratched. The fluorescent lights flickered constantly. It felt old, abandoned, as if it had existed long before the rest of the facility. In the center stood a large metal desk. On it rested an old computer. Its monitor was already on. Green text blinked across a black screen. Access DENIED below it. Someone had scratched a message into the metal with a knife. Trust the voice. Lily took a step back. Someone was here before us. Walter gently ran his fingers over the scratches. They were desperate. Ben noticed something else. There are more. The walls were covered with carved messages. Some were faded with age. Others looked recent. The exit is real. Don't let them divide you. We were 12. I froze. 12. There are only 10 of us, Mia whispered. Marcus frowned. Maybe another group. Walter slowly nodded. Or maybe not all of them escaped. Silence settled over the room. I looked around more carefully. In one corner lay a broken chair. Near it, a rusted bracelet. It looked exactly like the ones on our wrists, except its screen was shattered. Ben picked it up. It has a number. He wiped away the dust. Participant 11. A heavy silence followed. Participant 11. The game had welcomed 10 participants, so why did this bracelet exist? Then the computer beeped. Everyone jumped. The screen changed. Instead of access DENIED, a new line appeared. Administrator session interrupted. Loading. For a moment. I thought we were about to learn the truth. Instead, the monitor filled with static. A distorted image flickered onto the screen. A man wearing the same smooth white mask we'd seen in the library. He wasn't standing still anymore. He was looking directly into the camera. Then, he slowly raised one finger to where his lips would have been, a gesture for silence. The video ended. The screen went black. Lily whispered, "Who is he?" No one answered. Then, the robotic voice suddenly echoed through the room. Only this time. It sounded different, not calm, urgent. "Return to the library immediately," Marcus blinked. "Since when does it tell us where to go?" The voice repeated itself, louder. "Leave the hidden area immediately." I looked at Iris. She was smiling. "You hear it too?" "What?" "It's scared," Marcus laughed. "A machine can't be scared." "Maybe not." She looked around the abandoned room. "But whoever programmed it can." That thought settled heavily over all of us. If someone was trying to force us out, then we'd found something important. Noah walked to the computer and gently touched the keyboard. The screen flashed again. A folder appeared. Its name was simple. "Files, it's unlocked," Ben exclaimed. Noah opened it. Inside were dozens of recordings, each labeled with a room number. Room 1, Room 2, Room 3, and beneath them, another folder. Its name made my blood run cold. Current participants. Marcus leaned closer. "Open it," Noah clicked. 10 files appeared, one for each of us. Each file was named with our participant number, except there was one extra, Participant 0. Everyone stared. "There isn't a Participant 0, Claire whispered. Noah moved the cursor toward it, just before he clicked. Every light in the room went out. Darkness swallowed us. Someone screamed. Metal scraped against concrete. Footsteps, fast, too fast. The emergency lights flickered on. Red, dim. Barely enough to see. The computer had been knocked off the desk. Its monitor lay shattered on the floor. The folder was gone, and standing at the top of the staircase, illuminated by the red lights, was the man in the white mask. This time, he wasn't watching us. He was watching Noah. For several seconds, neither of them moved. Then the masked man slowly pointed toward the exit, as if warning us to leave. The next instant, the lights flickered again. He vanished. No footsteps. No opening door, nothing, just gone. Noah stared at the empty staircase. His expression, calm until now, finally changed. For the first time, he looked afraid. And somehow, that frightened me more than seeing the masked man himself. For several seconds, none of us moved. The emergency lights bathed the room in a dull red glow. The shattered computer monitor crackled weakly on the floor before going completely dark. Ben was the first to speak. "Did anyone see where he went?" Marcus ran up the staircase 2 steps at a time. He searched the hallway above. Nothing, no footsteps, no doors, no hiding places. He returned a minute later, breathing heavily. "He's gone." Claire crossed her arms. "People don't just disappear," Walter quietly replied. "They do, if they know the building better than we do." Everyone fell silent again. I looked at Noah. He was still staring at the top of the staircase. "You know him?" It wasn't a question. He slowly turned toward me. "No." "Then why was he looking at you?" "I don't know," Marcus snorted. "That's the first lie you've told." Noah met his gaze. "I said, I don't know." His voice was calm, but something about it felt different, as if he were choosing every word carefully, not because he wanted to deceive us, but because he was afraid of saying too much. We climbed back into the library. The hidden bookshelf slowly rotated into place behind us, sealing the staircase once again. It was almost impossible to tell that a passage had ever existed. The robotic voice returned. Its tone had gone back to normal. "Participants have exceeded the intended route. Please continue the evaluation." The countdown read. 1842. Marcus glared at the ceiling. "Yeah, or what?" The speakers remained silent for the first time. The game didn't respond. We gathered around one of the long wooden tables. Everyone looked exhausted, mentally more than physically. Walter broke the silence. "Let's list what we know." He held up one finger. "There were people here before us." A second finger. "There was at least a participant 11. A third. "There is also a participant 0, Claire added, "and someone in a white mask." Ben nodded. "And the voice wanted us away from that hidden room." Mia looked at Noah. "And the masked man ignored all of us." "Except Noah." Every eye turned toward him. Noah sighed. "I know how this looks." "It looks terrible," Marcus replied. "So explain." For the first time, Noah hesitated. Then he quietly said, "When I woke up, I remembered something." The room became completely still. "What?" I asked. "A sentence." "What sentence?" He closed his eyes. "If you remember everything, don't tell the others." A chill ran through me. "You remembered that?" He nodded. "I thought it was a dream. But after seeing that computer," he looked toward the hidden bookshelf. "I'm not sure anymore." Claire frowned. "Why didn't you tell us?" "Because," he looked down. I wasn't sure if forgetting was safer. The countdown reached 15 o'clock. Suddenly, every bookshelf in the library began to move. Wood scraped loudly across the floor. Ladders folded into the walls. Thousands of books shifted on their own. Lily grabbed Mia's arm. It's changing. Within seconds, the peaceful library had transformed into a maze. Towering shelves blocked every path. The room was completely different. The robotic voice echoed overhead. Final phase of room 4. Locate the author. You have 15 minutes. Marcus laughed bitterly. Of course. We're in a maze now. Ben looked around. We should stay together. Everyone agreed. We started moving through the narrow aisles. The shelves stretched higher than before. Some sections were so dark that I couldn't see the ceiling. Every now and then, I thought I heard footsteps. Not ours, someone else's, always just out of sight. Lily whispered, I don't like this. I know. I didn't like it either. We turned another corner, dead end. We doubled back, another dead end. Then, we found a small reading room. Unlike the rest of the library, it contained only one object. A wooden chair, and on the chair sat a single book. Its cover was pure white. No title, no name, just like the masked man's face. I walked toward it slowly. Something told me this was important as I reached for the book. A voice spoke behind me, not the robotic voice. A human one, quiet, calm, almost familiar. Don't open it. I spun around. The others looked just as startled. Standing at the entrance to the reading room was the man in the white mask. He wasn't running. He wasn't hiding. He simply stood there with his hands at his sides. Marcus took a step forward. Who are you? The masked man ignored him. Instead, he looked directly at me. Then he spoke 4 words that made my blood run cold. You've been here before. My heart stopped. What? The masked man didn't move. His featureless white mask reflected the dim lights of the library, making it impossible to tell where he was looking. Yet I knew he was looking at me. You've been here before, he repeated. Marcus stepped between us. Enough games. He lunged forward. The masked man sidestepped with surprising speed. Marcus stumbled into a bookshelf, sending dozens of books crashing to the floor. By the time he regained his balance, the masked man was gone. Again, only his voice lingered. Don't let them finish the test. Silence, no footsteps. No closing door, nothing. Claire stared at me. What did he mean? I don't know. Are you sure? I've never seen this place before, at least. I didn't think I had. The white book still rested on the chair. Everyone looked at it. No one wanted to touch it. Finally, Walter said, he told us not to open it. Marcus folded his arms. So we should obviously open it. That's exactly what someone manipulating us would expect. And following his warning might be exactly what the game expects, Claire countered. The debate grew louder. I barely heard any of it. The masked man's words kept echoing in my head. You've been here before. Impossible, wasn't it? I reached toward the book. Adrian, Mia warned. I just want to look. The cover felt warm. Not cold like every other object in the facility. Warm, as though someone had been holding it moments earlier. I slowly opened it. The first page was blank. The second contained a single sentence. Welcome back, Participant 1. The room went silent. I stared at the page. My hands began to shake. No, this has to be fake. Marcus grabbed the book from me. He read the page himself. His face lost all color. It really says that. Claire took the book next. Then Walter, one by one, everyone confirmed it. The words never changed. Welcome back, Participant 1. Ben looked at me. You were Participant 1. I don't know. You said you woke up just like the rest of us. I did. Then why does it say welcome back? I had no answer. As Marcus flipped to the next page, a photograph slipped out. It landed face up on the wooden floor. Lily gasped. It showed 12 people standing in front of a steel door. All of them wore the same black bracelets we had. I immediately recognized several faces. Walter, Claire, Marcus, Ben, Mia, Ethan, Lily, Iris, Noah, me, we were all there, smiling, as if posing for a group photo. But there were 2 more people. A young woman I had never seen before, and the man in the white mask. Only, he wasn't wearing the mask. His face was visible. The problem was, I couldn't focus on it. Every time I tried, my vision blurred. As if my mind refused to process what I was seeing. Walter whispered, there were 12. His voice cracked. The message on the wall, we were 12. Mia picked up the photo. When was this taken? No date, no writing, nothing, only the image. Then I noticed something else. I was standing next to the masked man. My hand rested on his shoulder, as though we knew each other. A sharp pain exploded behind my eyes, another flash. A control room, rows of monitors, a man's voice. You can still leave, my own voice answered. Not without them. The memory vanished. I staggered backward. Mia caught me before I fell. Adrian, I'm okay. But I wasn't those memories. They felt real, too real. The library lights suddenly dimmed. The robotic voice interrupted. Unauthorized memory recovery detected. Every screen in the room lit up. Red letters flashed across them. Memory suppression failure. The calm robotic voice began to distort. Words overlapped. Fragments of different recordings played at once. Reset participant 1, ... increase dosage. Do not let subject 0, the transmission abruptly cut off. Everything went quiet. Noah looked at me. Did you hear that? I nodded slowly. Subject 0, not participant 0, subject 0, before anyone could speak. A loud alarm blared. The library shelves began moving again. Not slowly this time. Rapidly, violently. The maze was changing around us. Books rained from the shelves, wood splintered. The countdown vanished, replaced by a new message. Security breached then, for the first time since we had awakened. A human voice came over the speakers, breathing hard, urgent. Listen to me, the voice crackled through heavy static. You don't have much time, the group froze, the voice continued. If participant 1 remembers everything, they'll activate protocol Eclipse. Do not let the system isolate him. The transmission cut out. The robotic voice returned immediately, louder than ever. Ignore the unauthorized broadcast. Participant 1 is experiencing cognitive instability. Continue the evaluation. No one moved. Everyone looked at me. I didn't know who to believe anymore. The game, the masked man, or the stranger on the speakers. Then from somewhere deep inside the shifting maze, a steel door slowly unlocked, unlike every other door we'd seen. This one had no room number, only a single word engraved into the metal. Exit, and somehow, I knew with absolute certainty, it wasn't meant for us. The word exit seemed to pull at me. It wasn't just a door, it felt familiar. Without thinking, I took a step toward it. Adrian, Claire grabbed my arm. What are you doing? I blinked. I honestly didn't know. For a moment it had felt as though I already knew what was on the other side, as if I'd walked through that door before. The thought terrified me. The library continued shifting around us. Bookshelves groaned as they slid across the floor. Entire aisles disappeared while new ones formed. The exit door remained exactly where it was, untouched, unmoving, almost protected. The robotic voice echoed again. Participants are instructed to avoid unauthorized exits. Marcus laughed bitterly. So that's exactly where we're going. Ben nodded. If the system doesn't want us there, that's probably where we need to be. Walter frowned. Or that's exactly what someone wants us to believe. No matter which choice we made, someone was manipulating us, the game, the masked man, or the mysterious human voice. We cautiously approached the door. There was no keypad, no handle. Only a small scanner beside the frame. As I drew closer, it lit up blue. Identity confirmed. A metallic click echoed. The door unlocked. No one breathed. Claire looked at me. It only scanned you. Marcus stared. So he really has been here before. I don't remember any of this, I insisted. I know. Mia stepped beside me. But the door remembers. That sentence settled heavily over the group. The door remembered. Slowly, I pushed it open. The room beyond wasn't another puzzle. It was an office. A real office. Dust covered the furniture. Computer monitors lined one wall. A coffee mug sat on a desk, its contents long dried. Someone had left in a hurry or never come back. On the far wall hung dozens of photographs. Hundreds, actually, pictures of different groups. Some had 6 people, others had 12, some had 20. Every photograph showed frightened participants wearing black bracelets. Every photograph had one thing in common. At least one face in each group had been crossed out with a thick red X. Lily whispered. How many games have there been? Walter slowly shook his head. I don't think I want to know. Ben powered on one of the computers. To everyone's surprise, it worked. A login screen appeared. Instead of asking for a password, it displayed one sentence. Welcome, Administrator. Marcus frowned. Administrator? Ben looked at me. It recognized someone. Everyone followed his gaze. Me? No, I whispered. It can't. The screen changed on its own. Folders appeared. Participant records, behavior analysis facility, map, project, exit. My heart pounded. We finally found answers. Ben reached for the mouse. Before he could click anything, the monitor flashed red. A warning filled the screen. Administrator session detected. Remote connection established. The office lights suddenly shut off. Emergency lights switched on. Every monitor displayed the same image, the white mask. This time, the masked man wasn't standing silently. He spoke. His voice was calm, clear, and heartbreakingly familiar. Adrian, you finally found the office. I couldn't breathe. I've been trying to reach you. Marcus stepped toward the screen. Who are you? The masked man ignored him. He looked only at me. I know you're confused. They erased almost everything. But listen carefully. You don't have much time. The image flickered. Static briefly covered the screen. When it cleared, the masked man had removed his mask. I gasped. Around me everyone froze, the face staring back at us. Was mine, not similar, not a brother, not a lookalike. It was my face, the same eyes, the same scar above my eyebrow, the same voice. Claire stumbled backward. No, Ben whispered, that's impossible. Marcus looked from the screen, to me, and back again. There are two of you. The man on the screen gave a sad smile. No, there used to be. The transmission crackled violently. Alarms erupted throughout the office. The robotic voice shouted over the speakers. Security override detected. Terminate unauthorized transmission. The man on the screen spoke quickly. If you want the truth, find subject 0. He's the only one who remembers the first game. The image froze, then shattered into static, silence. No one spoke, no one even looked at me until Noah quietly said, Adrian, I think we've been asking the wrong question. I forced myself to look at him. What do you mean? He met my eyes. The question isn't, who are you? He paused. It's, which Adrian are you? No one spoke. The office felt smaller now, as if the walls themselves were closing in. Marcus was the first to break the silence. So, he looked at me. Which one are you? I don't know. It was the only honest answer I had, the face on the monitor. It had been mine, not similar. Mine, the same scar, the same voice, the same expression. It was impossible, yet everyone had seen it. The computer beeped. One monitor had survived the shutdown. A single folder remained open. Project Exit. Ben quickly clicked it. Most of the files had been deleted. Only one document was left. He opened it. A short paragraph appeared. Project Exit was created to study human decision-making under extreme pressure. Memory suppression was used to ensure authentic behavior. Participants were evaluated repeatedly until a suitable candidate emerged. Claire frowned. Repeatedly? Walter adjusted his glasses. They've done this before. Mia whispered, to us. No one answered. Another file appeared automatically. Subject 0. Ben clicked it. The screen froze, then a single sentence appeared. Identity classified, below it. Another line slowly typed itself. Subject 0 remembers every cycle. I looked at Noah. So that's why you remembered waking up before. He shook his head. No, I remembered. He hesitated. Someone telling me not to remember. Before anyone could ask another question, the office door slammed shut. Locks clicked into place. The robotic voice echoed overhead. Unauthorized access confirmed. Security protocol initiated. A section of the far wall slowly slid open. Behind it stood the man in the white mask. This time, he didn't disappear. He calmly removed the mask. It was the same face from the monitor. My face. He looked exhausted, older somehow. There were dark circles under his eyes. Scars covered his hands. I don't have much time, he said. Marcus immediately stepped in front of him. Start talking. The man ignored Marcus. He looked only at me. My name is Adrian. I know. No, he gave a sad smile. You think your name is Adrian? My pulse quickened. What are you talking about? You are the latest version. The room went completely silent. Latest version. I don't understand. You aren't the first Adrian. You aren't even the second. My legs felt weak. He continued. Every time you get close to escaping, they erase your memories and start the experiment again. Claire shook her head. That's insane. I wish it were. The older Adrian reached into his pocket. He pulled out a small silver key. I stole this years ago. He placed it in my hand. It's the master key. It opens one door, only one, so choose carefully. Before I could ask another question, a loud alarm blared. The robotic voice shouted. Subject 0 has entered the facility. Everyone froze. What? Ben whispered. Heavy footsteps echoed through the hallway outside. Slow, deliberate, not running, walking. Closer, closer. The older Adrian's expression changed. They found him. They found who? I asked. He looked straight at Noah. No, he whispered. They found Subject 0. Every eye turned toward Noah. He slowly raised his head. His usually calm expression was gone. Instead, he looked terrified. I remember now. The lights flickered. A memory flashed through my mind, a younger Noah standing beside me, in front of a burning control room. He looked at me and said, if they erase you, I'll remember for both of us. The memory vanished. Noah stared at me. Tears filled his eyes. You remembered that too. Before I could answer, the office door exploded inward. A figure stepped through the smoke, dressed in black, face hidden behind a smooth white mask. But this wasn't the same masked man. This one carried a black baton crackling with blue electricity. He slowly scanned the room. then pointed directly at Noah. A cold mechanical voice emerged from beneath the mask. Subject 0 located. Recovery authorized. Noah took one slow step backward, then whispered the words that made my blood run cold. Don't let them take me. The masked guard took another step forward. The crackling baton hummed louder. Noah backed away until he hit the wall. His breathing became uneven. They're not taking me again, he whispered. Marcus stepped in front of him. If you want him, you'll have to go through us. The guard didn't react. He simply repeated, recovery authorized. Then he charged. Marcus barely managed to dodge the first swing. The baton struck a metal cabinet instead. Sparks flew across the room. Run, Claire shouted. We scattered. Ben grabbed a chair and threw it at the guard. It slowed him down for only a second. The baton sliced through the chair as if it were made of paper. This way, the older Adrian yelled. He pushed open a narrow service door hidden behind a filing cabinet. We rushed inside. The older Adrian slammed the door shut and twisted a wheel-shaped lock. A heavy clang echoed behind us. The guard began pounding on the other side. The steel door shook with every impact. He won't stay out for long, the older Adrian said. The narrow corridor beyond was lined with exposed pipes and old electrical cables. Unlike the rest of the facility, it looked unfinished. This wasn't built for participants, Ben observed. No, the older Adrian replied. It was built for the people who ran the experiment. As we hurried through the corridor, I caught up to him. I need answers, he nodded. I know. He stopped in front of another door. Instead of opening it, he turned to face all of us. You deserve the truth. Everyone fell silent. He took a deep breath. There has never been just one game. There have been dozens. Every time a group reaches the end, the system chooses someone. That person's memories are erased. The experiment begins again. Lily's face turned pale. So we've died before, he shook his head. Not always. Sometimes people escaped. Sometimes they refused. And sometimes they became part of the system. I looked at him. And you, he smiled sadly. I escaped. Then why are you still here? Because I came back. No one understood. He looked at me. I couldn't leave everyone behind. My chest tightened. Those words. They matched the memory I'd seen earlier. Not without them. He had said them, or I had. The older Adrian reached into his jacket and removed a small photograph. It was faded around the edges. He handed it to me. It showed two young men standing outside a university. One was him, the other was Noah. Neither of them looked frightened. They looked like friends. On the back of the photo, someone had written, no matter what happens, one of us has to remember. Noah stared at it. His eyes widened. I remember, his voice shook. We volunteered. Everyone looked at him. What? Claire asked. We weren't kidnapped. Silence. We joined Project Exit ourselves. The room seemed to stop spinning. Why? I asked. Noah pressed a hand against his forehead. We were computer science students. There was an advertisement. Earn enough money to change your life. They said it was a psychological study. We signed the forms. They promised 1 weekend. Walter whispered. How long has it really been? Noah closed his eyes. I don't know, the older Adrian answered instead. 8 years. The words hit us like a physical blow. Lily burst into tears. 8. Claire leaned against the wall to steady herself. Ben simply stared at the floor. 8 years. Our lives, gone, stolen, before anyone could process it. The corridor lights turned red. The robotic voice returned. Memory restoration detected. Emergency lockdown initiated. Every door in the corridor slammed shut, except one. At the very end of the passage, it slowly opened. Brilliant sunlight streamed through it. Real sunlight, warm, bright. For a moment, no one could speak. Marcus smiled. We found it. The exit. The older Adrian didn't move. Instead, he whispered, No. I looked at him. What's wrong? His expression was full of regret. That, he said quietly, isn't the way out. The sunlight flickered just for an instant and through the doorway. I caught a glimpse of something impossible, not the outside world. Another white room, exactly like the one where I'd first awakened. My heart sank. It wasn't an exit. It was the beginning. No one moved. The sunlight shimmered for a moment, then disappeared completely. Beyond the doorway was exactly what I'd seen. A spotless white room, a single bed, a steel door, the same room where I had awakened. Lily's voice trembled. So, if we'd walked through, we would have started over. The older Adrian nodded. The system calls it a successful reset. Marcus slammed his fist into the wall. 8 years? They've been making people relive this for 8 years? No, the older Adrian looked at him. Much longer. A heavy silence settled over us. The pounding on the service door had stopped. Too suddenly, Ben frowned. Why'd they stop? No sooner had he spoken than every light went out. A second later, emergency lights flickered on. The robotic voice returned, calmer than ever. Final evaluation initiated. All participants proceed to the central chamber. No one moved. The voice repeated itself. Failure to comply will result in permanent containment. The older Adrian sighed. It knows we can't hide anymore. Then where's the central chamber? Claire asked. He pointed to the silver key in my hand. That key. It opens the only door the system can't control. We hurried deeper into the service tunnels until we reached a plain gray door with no markings. No keypad, no scanner, just an old keyhole. My hands shook as I inserted the silver key. It fit perfectly. The lock clicked. The door slowly swung open. The room beyond was enormous. Unlike the cold puzzle rooms, it was filled with computers, cables, and giant glass walls overlooking the entire facility. Hundreds of monitors displayed every room we'd passed through, every hallway, every camera angle. At the center of the room stood a massive cylindrical server, its blue lights pulsing like a heartbeat. This, Ben whispered, is the control room. On one monitor I saw room 1, empty, on another. Room 4's library on another. A dozen empty white awakening rooms, not one, dozens, lined up in endless rows. Claire covered her mouth. There were never just 10 participants. The older Adrian nodded. There never were. Then a voice echoed through the chamber. Not robotic, human. Congratulations. We turned. A woman in a dark suit stepped out from behind the server. She looked to be in her 40s, calm, composed, as though she had been expecting us. She smiled politely. My name is Dr. Evelyn Cross. For those who remember, welcome back. For those who don't, it's nice to meet you. Marcus took a step toward her. You're behind this. I oversee it. You ruined our lives. I preserved them. Everyone stared at her. What? Dr. Cross folded her hands. The world you remember no longer exists. Silence. Ben laughed nervously. What kind of joke is that? It isn't. She touched one of the monitors. The image changed. A city skyline. Ruined, buildings collapsed. Streets overgrown with vegetation. No people, no traffic, nothing. 18 years ago, she said quietly, a biological disaster wiped out most of humanity. None of us spoke. Our project wasn't created to torture people. It was created to save what was left. I felt as though the floor had vanished beneath me. You're lying. I wish I were. She looked at me. Project Exit isn't a prison. It's a simulation. The room spun. Every cycle teaches survivors to solve problems, cooperate, and adapt under pressure. She looked around the room. Your real bodies have been asleep. The people standing here, she paused, are digital reconstructions of your minds. No one breathed. No, Lily whispered. No, Dr. Cross looked genuinely saddened. I know this is difficult, but your physical bodies are waiting. If you choose to wake up, Marcus shook his head violently, I don't believe you. You don't have to. She pressed a button on a console. A final door opened at the far end of the chamber. Bright natural sunlight poured inside. This time, I could feel the warmth on my face. The scent of fresh air drifted into the room. It felt real. Dr. Cross stepped aside. The choice is yours. Walk through that door and wake up. The older Adrian looked at me, then quietly whispered, whatever you do, don't trust the first exit you see. I looked toward the open doorway, then back at Dr. Cross, then at the older Adrian. One of them was lying, and I had only one chance to decide who. I looked from Dr. Cross to the older Adrian, then to the open doorway filled with sunlight. One of them was lying. But after everything we'd been through, I realized something. I'd spent the entire game trying to figure out who was telling the truth. Maybe that was the wrong question. I turned to Dr. Cross. If this is really a simulation, prove it, she nodded. Without a word, she walked to one of the monitors and tapped a few keys. The screen changed. A room appeared. 10 transparent capsules stood in a circle. Inside each one was a person sleeping. Wires connected their heads to the massive server in the center. I found myself immediately. The face, the scar above my eyebrow, the black bracelet on my wrist. It was me. Marcus found his capsule. Claire found hers. One by one, we all did. No one spoke. Then Noah whispered, mine's empty. Everyone looked at the screen. He was right. There were only 9 occupied capsules. The 10th capsule was open. Dr. Cross slowly turned toward him. Because you're not inside the simulation. Noah stared at her. What? You're the operator. His face went pale. No, you volunteered to stay awake. You monitored every cycle. When the memory wipes failed, you entered the simulation yourself. Fragments rushed back into Noah's eyes. He staggered. I promised. The older Adrian finished the sentence. That one of us would always remember. Noah dropped to his knees, tears streamed down his face. I couldn't keep watching all of you forget, so I came in to bring you out. Silence filled the control room. Everything finally made sense. Subject Zero wasn't the first participant. He was the only one who had never truly left. He remembered every cycle because he had lived through every one. Dr. Cross sighed. You've all passed. She pressed one final button. The server's blue lights changed to green. The robotic voice spoke one last time. Project exit completed. Memory restoration in progress. One after another. Memories flooded back, not just fragments, everything. The first time we'd entered the experiment. The countless failed attempts. The friendships we'd built. The arguments, the promises, the resets. Hundreds of cycles, hundreds of goodbyes. I remembered the older Adrian. He wasn't another version of me. He was my memory. A reconstruction created from the first successful cycle to guide future participants. He smiled as I looked at him. You remembered. I did, he nodded. Then my job is finished. His body began to fade into shimmering particles of light. Lily cried, wait. He looked at all of us one last time. You don't need me anymore. Then he was gone. Only the silver key remained on the floor. Noah slowly stood. So, it's finally over. Dr. Cross smiled sadly. It is. The final door opened completely. Real sunlight poured into the room. This time, none of us hesitated. Together, all 10 of us walked through. I opened my eyes, not in a white room, not in a puzzle, in a hospital bed. Warm sunlight streamed through a window. Birds sang outside. A nurse smiled as I slowly sat up. Welcome back, she said softly. You've been asleep for 18 years. I looked around. In the beds beside mine, Marcus was laughing. Claire was crying. Walter stared silently out the window. Ben and Mia hugged each other. Lily smiled through tears. Ethan looked completely overwhelmed. Across the room, Noah sat in a chair, older than all of us. He smiled. You made it, I smiled back. So did you. Outside the window, the world wasn't perfect. It was scarred, broken, but it was alive. For the first time in 18 years, we weren't trying to escape. We were finally free. The end.